When I was like 5 years old, my mom had my sister and I protest the use of chemicals on crops in Peoria County. So this is actually a newspaper article from it. I should have scanned it and put it on there, but I didn't. But we were dressed as butterflies, and we were supposed to be protesting the use of GMOs, especially Roundup Ready corn, because it was known for killing pollinators like butterflies and bees and stuff like that. So that was kind of funny, but I was actually really afraid of corn after that for a while, because it was like this scary man dressed as a piece of corn following us. It was super strange. But my goal today is not to make you afraid of corn or actually the use of chemicals at all, because I'm an agriculture major, so I'm actually really in support of the use of chemicals. But I do think that there is a problem with the killing off of our pollinators because of the use of chemicals. So my goal is to show you that there's another way around this, basically. I'm just really going to touch the surface on what a cover crop is and the benefits of using them and how they impact our economy and the ecosystems. So basically, the definition of a cover crop is a plant seeded in an agriculture field, whether it's in season or outside of season, to somehow benefit the ecosystem. There's a couple of different families that are part of cover crops. So you have like your grasses, perennial ryegrass, annual ryegrass. There's a bunch of different ones that are around Illinois that they use. You also have your legumes, so your clovers and your alfalfa and things like that. You also have your brassicas, so your radishes, your turnips, anything with a deep-rooted system. And then you have your cereal grasses like oats and barley and wheat and things like that. So really, there's no specific place that you need to put a cover crop, just really anywhere that there's already a farm, anywhere that you already have farm space. You don't typically plant a cover crop to harvest it and use it as a crop itself. It depends on the location of your farm, the soil type that you have, the climate, your cash crop that you plan on using. Interestingly enough, different universities like U of I and Kansas State and Purdue, they have like a tool online that'll let you put on all this information and it'll output what cover crop would be best for your location. But I really didn't know a whole lot about cover crops until I was in college. Pete Fondle is pretty much the crop specialist over at AIT building here at ICC, and he's a cover crop specialist as well. But we learned that there's the four major types of cover crops. So the brassicas are like your radishes, so they're the deep-rooted ones. They break up the compaction in the earth, the surface crust, anything like that, because compaction is really bad for your crop that you're planting next year. It makes it really stressful for the little seedlings to emerge. So that's what brassicas are usually used for as cover crops. Grasses are kind of similar, especially like annual ryegrass. They have this deep-rooted system that just breaks up surface crust and prevents erosion and prevents the loss of soil. Legumes are the other one. They're interesting because they produce their own nitrogen. So really, soybeans are a legume. That's why you don't really have to apply as much nitrogen to a soybean field. But when you put alfalfa and clover as a cover crop, it puts back the nitrogen that was taken up from mostly corn the year before, and it'll put it back in, and then you don't have to put as much nitrogen on for the fall and the spring. And then finally, you have your cereal grains. So like barley and wheat, you can harvest them. You don't really see it as much around in Illinois, but it's also good for like to put livestock on and things like that. It also, when the plant dies, adds organic matter content to your soil, which makes it more nutrient dense. On top of these reasons for it saving time and for saving money, cover crops impact our ecosystem in a really positive way. The majority of our staple crops are actually pollinated by wind, so although it seems like bees do everything, that's what everyone kind of makes it seem like. Wind does a majority of the pollinating, but bees do make up for about 1/3 of our pollinating for all of our crops. So around here we have managed beehives with, you rent them out and you have someone take care of them, and then there's these